Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, please go up to the subscribe button, click it, and make sure you click on the notification button as well so that you can be notified whenever we have a new video up. Now today I want to talk about risks and risk taking. I consider myself someone who likes to take a lot of risks from as far back as when I was in high school, I think. I was a guy who was always selling people shoes in school, risking being caught, even up to the point where I was actually the head boy, but I was still selling shoes. But anyway, the context of risk we're talking about today is the context within which people decide to either explore certain opportunities or not, especially with regard to the workplace. Now, risks come in very many forms. The first one being you can take a risk to apply for a job that is clearly beyond your means or your reach, based on things that people put up, like experience, like degrees and things like that. That's an element of risk, and there are people who've actually done that and been successful. There's a very good story told of one Mzee Jalas Munyu, who apparently went to Radio Africa with no papers, nothing, but with only hope and faith in himself, and he cheated his way into getting an interview, and that risk paid off because people thought he was quite daring and someone who would be worthy of being given a job. But yeah, so let's try and go through a few of these risks. So the first one, there's always the risk of for me, if I can give you an example, deciding to do something before the time that everybody else thinks is the right time to do it. For example, so I was in uni, had done my first 2 years, and then I met a friend of mine, and we decided, you know what, okay, we love what we're doing, we love shooting films, documentaries and stuff, so let's go ahead and start a company. And we had no idea what to do. We had no idea how this organization we were setting up was going to be impactful to us. This is a risk that not a lot of people take. A lot of people go the conventional way, which is you go to school, finish your degree, and then you go out and start looking for a job. For us, we decided to create our own opportunity. I mean, the risk was painful. For several years, it was very painful. Even family do not really understand what you mean when you're saying you're doing this, you're doing that, and they've paid for your school fees. You're supposed to be, focusing on school, so you finish, go out and get a job. That's one element of risk. The next element of risk that I would like to talk about, for example, for me, is whenever there are opportunities that are put out there. For example, there are calls that can be put out there for certain things, whether it's scholarships, whether it's sponsorships, whether it's some, hackathon or whatever it is. And a lot of people that end up actually gaining from some of these things are those people who are actually willing to take the risk and jump onto that ship and be able to show what they can do. There are so many people who are way better than the people who usually end up getting scholarships, getting jobs, getting these opportunities. But the ones who do are the ones who actually take the risk and jump. For me, I remember very well in 2014, I received a link to apply for something called the Mandela Washington Fellowship for Young African Leaders. And at that time, it looked like something that very established people are the ones who are supposed to do. But then, being the risk taker that I am, I decided, you know what, let me give it a try. Believe it or not, I actually applied, and I was called for the first round of interviews. I did the second round of interviews, and lo and behold, I found myself going to the US for the first cohort of the Mandela Washington Fellowship.
Here at this summit, you're going to engage with some of our nation's leading voices, including someone who I know you can't wait to see, which is Michelle Obama, because
now, from what I've heard, you all have been making good use of this time here. You've been learning new skills, questioning old assumptions, and having some frank conversations with experts.
The other element of risk I'd like to talk about is when you, for example, have a job. Like right now, I have a job, and it's a good job. It's a well-paying job, and you're okay. Risk comes in when you start feeling uncomfortable. You start feeling like either you've been doing this for 2 or 3 years and you feel like you've done all you could at that point and you want to move on. And so those who are willing to take the risk will jump ship or will actually start looking for other opportunities. They are secure, but then they feel like they need to get something else. And so I found myself in such a situation a year ago where I had worked for DAI for some time, and I wanted something that would allow me to challenge myself, to learn some more, to be able to actually do something different. And so then I decided to look for opportunities outside. And I landed one that was okay, something that's really, really good in terms of the geographical areas within which I would be working and, just the scope of the position itself. And it was risky in that there was a lot that the role required that I may not have been possessing at that time. But for me, I was looking at it like, I'm jumping in, I'll learn how to swim, I'll learn how to do these things, and I'll be able to actually put myself out there. And perhaps the other element of risk in there is when you decide that, you know what, I'm in employment, but I want to actually jump out and go and start a business. I think this is one of the most scary ones. If you all know, there's nothing as good as the secure paycheck at the end of the month. And when you decide to leave that for something that's uncertain, something that is not cast in stone or is not assured, like starting a business and hoping that people will actually buy your product, that's the biggest element of risk, especially if you're in a position where you're feeding a family or you're doing things like that. So there are so many avenues of risk that we encounter every day. Forget the actual ones that actually impede or harm you, but directly the physical side of yourself, but those that deal with you in terms of your area of work or your career and stuff like that. These are just a few that I thought I would mention on my channel today, and I'm leaving it to you guys. Let me know what sort of risks you're taking. It could be, but on the professional side, you can also talk about those other things like jumping off of a plane or bungee jumping, things that give you adrenaline. But yeah, that's it for today. Let's meet on the next video. Remember, click up here to subscribe and get notifications whenever I upload another video. See ya.